It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. My Frankenstein is alive. It's actually not my Frankenstein. But I know the guy whose Frankenstein it is that created this Frankenstein avocado tree. Jeff, why is this a Frankenstein avocado?
Well, it has multiple varieties grafted on one tree. It has a seedling Hass, a Wilma grafted above the seedling. It also has a Fuerte grafted onto it. And the last graft that I did just recently was called Big Black Johnson.
Big Black Johnson. So, you sent me a photo of the Big Black Johnson. Can you pull that thing out?
Sure.
So I could take a look at the Big Black Johnson? Dang. Wait, let me see this thing here. That's a Big Black Johnson for sure. So, explain a little bit about the Big Black. Those are 6-inch tiles, my friend there. And Jeff knows the weight of these. You're looking at a photo, obviously. Jeff knows the weight of these particular fruit. The little one, Jeff, weighed how much?
9.5 ounces.
9.5 ounces. That's a Mexicola Grande.
Yes.
Which is a pretty big size Mexicola Grande fruit. That would be a little bit larger than a fairly good sized Hass.
Yes.
Okay. And then the one next to it is the Big Black Johnson. How much did that Big Black Johnson weigh, Jeff?
I believe it weighed 20 ounces.
20 ounces. That is remarkable. So, what we have going on here is we have a friend of Jeff's further down. We're actually out here in Modesto, California. This is where Jeff's place is. He's got all kinds of cool tropical plants here. I always wanted to come out and see Jeff. He actually had a mango, big giant mango growing right over here. I saw like on the internet pictures and everybody talking about it. I'm like, wow, if a guy in Modesto could grow a mango, that gives us all hope, right? So, and it got so big, he had to cut it down. Whole nother story. But anyway, so Jeff has a friend. Tell me about your friend that got the Big Black Johnson going.
David Johnson, he's a local experimenter in subtropical fruit here in Modesto, and he loves avocados, and he goes in people's backyards and asks them if he finds seedlings and asks them if he could propagate them. And he found this one and locally, and he grafted it onto a tree in his yard, and lo and behold, they produce huge fruit and good tasting.
And that's what we see here. We have this graft here. We have this one right here. And look, this one is actually pushing out of the paraffin tape. So that means it's ready to go. Jeff's gonna have his own Big Black Johnson. You pretty excited to have a Big Black Johnson now, finally?
Well, yeah, I'm always excited to see something new.
Could be a life changer.
Could be.
Yeah. So the reason it could be a life changer to have a Big Black Johnson is that, when it comes to these Mexicola Grandes, they're very hardy. They're very cold, hardy fruits. So you can use them just about anywhere. The issue is it has a really thin skin, so you can't really scoop it out easily like you could like a Hass or other ones like, Reed. And so that makes it more difficult to make a clean green guacamole and without the skin in there. The skin's actually good to eat, but people don't like to see the little black skin. If you know what it is, you're totally fine with it. But the average person's like, no, wait, let me do that again. That's what they say, right, when they see the skin in the guacamole. So, and the little Mexicola is so little you can barely scoop it out. You just have to eat the whole thing, which is great. Put it on crackers, cut it in half, real convenient. The Mexicola Grande is a little more fruit in there to scoop out. But I can imagine with the Big Black Johnson, there's going to be a ton of fruit, and you won't have this big issue of grabbing the skin with it. And there'll be so much meat that you can, just really get in there and dig it out.
Exactly. And one other property it has is that when you cut it, the fruit doesn't oxidize. It stays fresh.
So make sure we get Jeff in the frame. It is an amateur video, please remember, and my arm is getting tired and cramping. But no, so oxidation, is that how you say it?
I think so.
I'm gonna look that one up. Well, I do know what that word means. That means that the avocado basically turns gray from a beautiful green after like a half a day in the guacamole bowl, and then nobody wants to eat it because it looks so deathly sad. Some avocados do not oxidize. So it sounds like the Big Black Johnson stays perfectly fresh, doesn't oxidize. Sounds like a really good fruit. So what we're gonna do is Jeff's gonna call David up, and I have some guys that'll grow these things for me down south, and I'm giving them varieties to grow. And then we're probably gonna give David a little trademark, not a trademark, a breeder fee. We're gonna have a breeder fee for the Big Black Johnson, and it's gonna be probably $1 a tree. That's the typical breeder fee. So every time we sell one, we'll give David $1 for finding this plant, and then eventually, I think that we can get these Big Black Johnsons out into the public where they belong, where everyone can enjoy them. All right, there you go. Come back to Jeff's house out here in a couple of months. You'll see some Big Black Johnsons sprouting on the top of his tree, and then they're going to be littering the ground all over the front of his house. And if you sneak out here probably sometime between 2 and 4 in the morning, when no one is out, and you wear black, you could probably pick up Big Black Johnsons all over the lawn, and Jeff won't even know about it, right?
You never know.